What's going on, Sci-Fi fans? My name is Ben, and welcome back to the bench for a brand new episode here on Ben Builds. We are back on Sci-Fi Wednesdays and our alien Narcissus lifeboat shuttle. We're going to go ahead and jump in today, guys, and let's have some fun. Last episode, I went ahead and opened up the rear of the shuttle. We have 4 LEDs ready to go, just need to be wired up. Then I have to go ahead and install them to each of the engines. But I've already opened up the entire inside of the area there, so we are ready to go ahead and string those, drop them into place. And before you know it, we can glue on the front half and we will have a completed shuttlecraft. So this should be pretty simple to do. However, I do have to go ahead and punch a hole here for our stand, so we can lead the wires up inside the ship. And I also have to go ahead and add in some greeblies because we are lacking a few areas of detail. And I want to go ahead and see if I can spice it up just a little bit, as I typically do. So that is going to be the next kind of course of action. And honestly, the detail on the ship is really nice. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit on the soft side, and it does not necessarily match with what you see in the movie. And I'm not going to be able to get that 100% accurate, of course, but I can still add in a little bit of artistic license, throw in some greeblies, throw in some scratch building, and get this thing looking a little bit more detailed. So that is the plan. Now, speaking of LEDs, we have 4 5mm LEDs. These are made for 2 to 2.1 volt. So I'm going to be using a resistor on this, a 47 ohm resistor, and we're going to go ahead and jump into our first time lapse and get them all wired up and ready to be dropped into place, and install some sort of tube to go ahead and transfer the wires from the base to the ship for these 4 main drive engines. Shouldn't be all that bad. Real simple wiring, real simple soldering. So we're going to jump in there and let's get this done. Let's go ahead and get everything installed. Let's get this party started. All right, everybody, so we are back and we have our LEDs installed into the rear of the ship. We've got our wires hooked up. We've got a little bit of a tube there to transport the wires from the ship down into the base. So yeah, we are looking pretty snazzy and I am super excited to see what we can do now. We're going to move on to the next kind of aspect of the project, and that is to add in some greeblies or widgets, whatever you want to call them, because this ship needs a little bit more detail. And I think that's something we can do. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can't maybe remove some of the softened detail detail, maybe add in some extra crisp detail, and just see what we can come up with. And to go ahead and get ready here, we actually went into the spares box and pulled out any sort of sprue or part or piece that I thought might be useful as a bit of a sci-fi greebly. We pulled them out and we're going to go ahead and see if we can place them around the ship itself, really kind of up that level of detail. And surprisingly, the extra thin Tamiya does work for this particular type of plastic. I've glued on a couple of different parts here just to kind of test them, so I'll remove them, don't need them there, but they do bond, which is awesome because I'm actually out of super glue, so I can't be using super glue right now. I've got some gel, but not the extra thin, and I like using extra thin. So I think we are ready to go ahead and just take off these spare parts. We don't need them, that's just for a test. You can see they definitely bond. And we're going to turn our attention over to the front of the nose and go through our parts, find some cool, interesting details, fix them up, cut them down, sand them, whatever we need to do, then install them onto the model. We're almost done, guys. Let's push on. All right, everybody. So we are back and the Narcissus is coming along. I'm very happy with what I've been able to achieve so far. This is a cool little model. It's actually coming together really, really well. So I'm not having too many difficulties yet. So luckily we are on the right track. Now for the rear of the ship, all the LEDs are in, they're wired, they're glued down, and they all work, which is awesome. We also installed that little tube to go ahead and transfer wire from the ship down into the base. And just to go ahead and show you what we've done, let's go ahead and basically just touch these wires together and you will see they do light up. Not too bad. They're not too bright either, which is nice. This post we installed as well is super solid. It's not going anywhere. We used some super glue gel, which I had lying around, and some hot glue, and this thing is locked into place. The wire though is not, because I like a little bit of movement in there just so I don't pinch or snag the wire on anything. And I think, yeah, we are looking good for the rear of the ship. That's all the LEDs we're going to be using. We're not going to throw in any extras because I think that is enough. Get you guys a real quick close up here. Let me show you some of the greeblies we've added. We did a lot of work work there on the nose of the ship. We've added in some side details, and I use a ton of parts. Like for example, these right here, they're just gun barrels off of an LE5FN. They don't necessarily 100% match the detail around it because they are much more crisp, but honestly, they look pretty good. This is a landing gear of some sort, of an X-Wing or something like that. Then we've got just a ton of extra parts up here. Got a little mini tank track from 1/44 scale kits to gun barrels to oxygen tanks. We've got some rocket pods from a Lag 3. So honestly, we just grabbed anything we could. We threw them in there, some struts off of an Albatross, and I like the level of detail. Definitely has more more industrial feel to it. So that's what I was going for. And for the rear of the ship, I stuck with the same idea, though I didn't add as much on here because we already have quite a bit of detail. Yeah, it's a little softer. Still, I like just adding just a touch of 3D parts, and I think that's going to be just fine. I'm not too worried about it. Again, they're actuators, just different parts and pieces off of bombs and rockets and whatever else I could find. Nothing on the undersurface though, because again, you're not going to see it. It's very much obscured, so I wasn't too worried about that. Moving forward, I think we are ready to go ahead and install the front and rear halves of the ship together. We have that all lined up, ready to go. We also have our switch picked out, a nice red button switch. That's going to be awesome. And we have our battery pack ready to go that I'm using right now to test my LEDs. So yeah, we are looking sharp. I think this is going to be a very quick build. I don't think there's going to be much more we have to do before we can go ahead and just sandwich these two halves together. But yeah, that's going to be it for us today, guys. Honestly, we are very close to going ahead and being able to sandwich these halves together, but I am out of super glue, so we're going to wait a little bit. So we are right on track. I don't think this is going to be a very long build, very short series for sure. But I think next episode we'll come on back. We'll get everything nicely buttoned up, maybe start priming, maybe start painting. Don't know exactly what to do, but we're going to push on. So until then, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on episode 3 of Sci-Fi Wednesdays and our Narcissus alien shuttle. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.